Okay, welcome back everyone. Those of you who are new, a very warm welcome. Those of you who are returning, again, thank you. I saw you last night. Now, as I mentioned, I am going to be doing updates per zodiac sign of what house and how it will be affecting you during the retrograde. Now, it's between 4 and 5 months. So obviously all of us are wondering how and what house will be coming up for each zodiac sign and how it will be directly affecting us. So I have researched into it, and at a very general note, there is particular houses that are coming up, and this is for Libra, both rising signs as well as Libra. Now, a lot of what is coming through in the read, I've placed the houses down and I'll try and explain it to you of what's very heavily coming up. Definitely with Venus in Aries for next month, May, moving into the next transit. I'm going to do updates on these energies so we know in each house how things are going. Now, when it does come to the Venus energy, Venus is going to be in Aries. Now, that's your 7th house. There is quite a lot of 7th house placement. Now, that covers marriage, contracts, and partnerships. So there is a lot of that theme coming through, and there is a lot of relationship-related dynamics coming to the forefront. You've got Uranus and Taurus as well, and that's your 8th house. That's life, death, money, and legacies. And it's actually the rebuild effect. So you're looking at the physical foundation of your connections. There's a lot of energy coming through where you're going to be looking at the financial aspect of things and the integrity of the foundation. So you're really going to be, and Aries being the 1st house, you're really going to be checking in with yourself. And a lot of us collectively with other zodiac signs are going to be doing the same. With the moon energy in Taurus, it is coming through on the 4th. Again, that is your 8th house. And again, that is to do the same energy of what Uranus and Taurus is doing. So, you know, your mindset, your feminine frequency for some of you, the emotional body, is actually researching, your life history, what needs to go, what can stay, where your finances are at, what you actually stand for as a human being, what you actually stand for, and what you're attempting to rebuild. So definitely from a positive energy, Taurus is sort of like the creator, so it is quite financially aspected. So it can be where you're looking at your finances, tying things up, especially with Saturn energy coming through, is going to help you deal with these areas. But it can be a time where you can really focus in on your energy. Yes, it is for rising as well. So we've got Taurus moon. We also have Taurus coming through in the sun. Now, sun is deemed as masculine frequency. Moon is deemed as feminine. Regardless, we both all individually hold feminine and masculine frequency. With the Taurus energy, again, you're looking at what needs to stay, what needs to go, what you stand for, and your ability to rebuild a situation and get it back to where it needs to be. So I do feel this is positive. I don't feel it's negative. And I'm going to pull cards after I explain everything that's going to be coming through for Librans. Even though the 8th house is coming up, and that is with Uranus, the moon in Taurus, the sun in Taurus, it is helping you look at what you need to do, what you can do, what you stand for, how to move things forward. With Mars being in Gemini, that is to do with your belief systems. It's also to do with education, foreign travels, and travel. Again, it's what are you fighting for? What are your belief systems? And Mars, again, can be a war energy. So it might be you're really sticking up for yourself and you're saying, look, this isn't what I want. This is what I want, especially with Aries coming through in your romantic sector. So connected to your romantic sector, it may be that you're very verbal as to what you're wanting and what you're needing. You're really, really researching in what you like in situations and how it's going to help you physically travel forward. Neptune is in Pisces for you guys. Now that covers your work environment, the integrity of your work environment, habits, routine, and health. And again, Neptune is the planet of inventions, delusions, illusions. What you will find with this energy is you might be very emotional about a work environment. You may be trying to put a lot of effort in. You might be really seeing in an accountable sense with the Capricorn energy. And although there isn't obviously a house coming through for Saturn, I do really feel that Saturn will collectively help us to look at all these areas that are coming in regardless. Even though a house will come up for you, I do feel it's going to really be showing you where the delusions are connected to anything you're working on. Now, it doesn't have to be your physical employment. It can actually be something that you're directly working on, and you're looking at it and you're looking at your routine and restructuring it. You're seeing the flaws in the plan and you're seeing where you need to change that scenario. Now, as I've mentioned, there is a lot of Aries energy coming through. And again, that is actually your shadow sign. And I really do suggest for those of you listening to all these videos I'm doing today, go back and actually look at your shadow side, because it can be trigger points of during the retrograde cycle for the next 4 to 5 months of what we're going to be looking at and where potentially we can be triggered. With Mercury in Aries, we have Venus in Aries for you guys. What else do we have? Chiron in Aries. The 7th house placement for you guys, as I mentioned, is connected to marriages, contracts, and partnerships. So directly speaking, you're going to be really heavily looking at your communication when it comes to, who you are and speaking your truth. It's also connected to individuals in that domain. So it might be your co-workers, your peers, your employees. It could be again, although marriage is connected to the partnership, it can also directly be connected to family-related environments and speaking your truth connected to your connections. I'm also seeing really closely looking at any contracts you directly have. This can be spiritual contracts, emotional, physical contracts, and promises and karmic cycles that you're adhering to and learning from. This is a very karmic cycle, and like I said, it is for the next 4 to 5 months. We do have the full moon moving into Scorpio on the 18th, and it's at 2 degrees, which is going to be like a fresh start. And again, that does move into your 2nd house. Now, with the 2nd house, it does come down to your possessions, your resources, your professional resources and ability to network, land, material, and value, so financial aspects. Really looking at the foundation of where you're wanting to move forward. It can be a very direct energy, really having to utilize that frequency of assertiveness to actually move things into a manifestation sense and release things that no longer serve you. Now, as I mentioned, on the 30th, which for me is today, for others of you, it's coming. This, again, is a transit that we are covering for 5 months. So whenever you watch this video over the next few months, it's still going to be relative, but I am going to pull the cards and redirect you back to this video so you can check what is coming up for you guys, and then we can just pull the cards each month and mid-month potentially if time permits. Jupiter for you guys in Pisces is your 3rd and your 6th house. Now, the 3rd house covers communication, self-expression, and short journeys. So, again, in an expansion sense with Jupiter, what you will be finding is on the 30th, what's happening is Saturn is acting like a flash torch. It's stationary over the nodes, which is Cancer and Capricorn, which again is family. Look at the traits of a Cancerian and look at the traits of Capricorn. It's taking on that energy, but Saturn is directly positioned over that area. And again, Saturn is in Capricorn, so it is very much linked to those energies. It's going to be looking at Jupiter and Pluto. So being stationary, it's shining its light onto situations that haven't been working, that are imbalanced and need to be adjusted. Never look at the planets as a punishment, more look at them as a flashlight to direct scenarios that are already very present in your life, but definitely with the Neptune frequency. It's not necessarily that you took your eyes off the road. It's more so that the delusions of situations are now being shown to you. So you're seeing scenarios that potentially was almost like there were various scenarios of way things could have gone about. Now it's becoming clearer because Saturn is stationary and going to be going retrograde, which it already is, but on the 30th it's stationary. Meanwhile, Pluto and Jupiter on the 30th of April, moving forward, but 30th, they are at a similar degree. So it's really highlighting those two planets of what they're doing and what they're trying to show you. Jupiter being the planet of expansion and growth, again, being your third house, I mentioned it's communication, self-expression, and short journeys. You're wanting to be able to speak your truth. I do feel also you're wanting to feel free, and there is a lot of throat chakra going on at the moment. So you're wanting to feel free to communicate, to be yourself, and some external situations may be preventing you because you are in assessment mode from vibrationally being yourself. Now, when it does come to Pluto, it's in your 5th house, which is romance, children, birth, and luck. Well, well, well. The other house that Jupiter is in is your 6th house. Now, that covers your work environment, habits, routine, and health. Now, I do feel it's really writing a story, especially with Neptune coming through with the illusions. It's sort of showing you where even if you energetically wanted certain things to be a certain way, you're now in a clarity sense looking at things and going, how is this a stable environment? Nodes in Capricorn and Cancer, you know, work, family, accountability, you know, knowing that you're being, Capricorns are very good workers, but they also do what they need to do, and it can be at times quite black and white. That's not to say that's always the overall character, but the energies as such of what's coming through in your read is very much that you're looking at the physical foundation of the situation. You're wanting to communicate about it, but it somehow energetically feels suppressed. You're looking at your work domain, what you're working on, where you're putting your energy into. Jupiter is expansion. You're wanting something to get off the ground, but energetically you're seeing that, you know, you might be in your mind thinking, hey, with the sun energy and the moon energy both being in the 8th house, you know, is this feasible? What do we need to do to make that happen? Jupiter, the dreams, the hopes, the expansion, wanting to make that happen. Saturn showing you 4th house. The psychological foundation, the domestic related dynamic, endings, parents, and home. So it could be external situations. It could be children causing conflict. It could be your home isn't big enough. It might be emotionally speaking, if there's karmic involvements, the energy is directly impacting you, especially with Uranus in Taurus being connected to the 8th house. Again, how can it get off the ground? When is this going to come to an end? Does this make any sense, Librans? I mean, I'm a Libran and I know this makes sense to me. It's like, no mind then. Are we there yet? Would you like fries with that? No. Okay, let's see the energy of Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto for Libra. And Pluto. Okay, with Saturn, there can be a lot of conflict, which is actually causing issues when it does come to, you know, what you're wanting to do, and it's directly affecting the frequency of the psychological foundation. There's a lot of hearsay going on. There can be domestic related dynamics where people are interfering in your given path that you're wanting to move towards. In a sense of an endings, again, it's trying to create a bubble to prevent these toxic energies from coming in. It can be just vibrational fields, but definitely because it's a psychological foundation, it can be a home-related dynamic or parents or co-parenting, for instance. Again, it's all going to relate to you very individually. If you are wanting a reading like this directly connecting to your path, touch base with me through the website, and we can do a read very similar to this connected to your own zodiac sign. Now, when it does come to these energies, I will pull clarifiers after. So there is conflict when it does come to the physical foundation. So Saturn's trying to help you actually see it. I do feel you're aware of it, but they're actually making that energy highly intensive. So it can feel a real disgusting energy where the conflict builds as it moves, but it's heavier at that point to gain our sight, so to speak, so that these cycles can move out to create the balance. Again, weeks and months following, the energy will be focused in on this area to create that balance and to assist the physical foundation. Jupiter of where you're wanting to expand. And this is anything you're working on. It could be affecting your health and you're wanting that to get back on track. Habits, routines, and it doesn't have to be just directly correlating to you. It could be that these areas are impacting you because you have too much on your plate. You're trying to have the courage to look at the whole scenario and know that once you walk through a door, that's it. So you're really in assessment mode at the moment, and Saturn's really helping you. And I do feel when we do pull clarifiers, I do feel it's very much influenced by external situations, not necessarily just by your own doing. But, you know, in astrology and what's going on, very much karmic cycle can be past life energies of what we're needing to learn to balance those situations. With Pluto in your 5th house of romance, children, birth, and luck, Saturn's really, a lot of influences are being quite manipulative around you. And I do feel when it does come to what you're wanting, it can be either, the romantic connection. Pluto is showing the connection, what's going on. So it can be external to you. You're feeling that this situation is imbalanced at the moment. So this of what is occurring is assisting you to come to a place where it's going to help you bring that balance in. Look at Pluto as, okay, Houston, we have a problem. It's working with Saturn. Saturn's flashing the light down on the direct issue, the psychological foundation, the domestic related issues, the endings, parents, and home. To come home to self and to balance the situation out, both Pluto and Jupiter are working in this scenario. Now, the fact that Pluto is falling into your 5th house of romance, children, birth, and luck, the external energy is you're really trying to push to get the balance back. Again, we will pull clarifiers to see what directly is going on, for an outcome in that scenario. It can also be that people are pushing you around and affecting the direct romance house, dynamics with children, dynamics with you getting your planes off the ground. Birth can be connected to childbirth, but it can also be connected to birth of a new idea, birth of a new beginning. It also can be impacting your luck because there is a lot of external, I believe, influences connected to this. You're really wanting that fresh start when it comes to the Jupiter frequency. You're wanting the stability of the environment and the routine and old habits and health to get back in balance. So you're wanting a fresh start. You know that you're going to move forward and you're going to keep pushing forward. And although Jupiter's retrograde, it is the best time to actually proceed forward. You do tend to find with the Jupiter frequency of retrograde, it's not that there's no growth in that area. It really shows you what is and what isn't working so that you can actually select the frequency and the amount of energy you want to put into dynamics so that you get the best out of the situation. So if anything, the growth is more so during that time because you're being very selective about how you deliver your energy into situations. When it does come to Saturn, with the cruel energies, it's going to show you everything of what's not working, okay? Everything of what's not working, everything of what you need to deal with connected to the physical foundation, domestic situations, endings, parents, co-parenting, home environment. It's going to help you shift the frequency to a point you get it back on track. Now, Pluto, all these external situations, I do feel it's connected to an ex, okay? I do feel it could be a person that is a past tense frequency, but it could be on your side, but it feels external to you. Especially considering it's in your romance house. It might be connected to a previous partnership, your want and desire to move forward into the new. For those of you who are single that are wanting a relationship, it's tying up those loose ends to proceed forward. But I do feel for a lot of you, it could be a past tense frequency that is affecting the direct dynamic of where you stand. But I don't feel it's the romantic interest. I feel it is more an external person, either your ex or their ex, just past tense frequency regardless. You're wanting the happiness to come back. You're wanting the balance and the joy to come back. And you're wondering why it's not so simple. It may be that you're looking at other scenarios and feeling as though it's more complicated than it needs to be. Let's check in with Venus of what's coming through for you guys. I do feel there's a delay there. Again, a delay in a sense that you may be really doing a lot of reflection and thinking that you've been foolish. But I do feel more positively that it's not that you're wanting to run. It feels you're looking at things very rationally, very 3D, in a sense that, yes, you know the 5D, but you're also looking at it from a point of view of, okay, how do I feel? Not how the other individuals feel or the other individual. Being the 7th house, it is very much about the marriages, the contracts and partnerships. So anything emotionally and spiritually you're putting your energy into, you're wanting to be very cautious. You may also want to take a leap of faith, but at the same time, you're trying to be cautious. You may be looking at other people around you and having to deal with those karmic frequencies of foolish energy. And again, I did mention it is a karmic cycle. Bear with me. There's a lot of areas we're covering. Too many ones. Neptune. Okay. What do we need to know about Venus as a clarifier? Okay. You're really going to be seeing in your Venus house where people energetically were foolish. You might be assessing these things. You may be talking about it. Again, the frequency is changing. We are semi-moving away from Aries frequency, but where we stand moving forward, this is the energy coming through in the 7th house. You're going to be seeing during this retrograde where the inconsistencies were. It can potentially be wounds are coming up, but you're dealing with it in a different way because you're actually operating from the 1st house of the zodiac sign, being Aries, where although it's falling in your 7th house, you are looking at it from your own perspective of how it made you feel and what you now feel, not past tense, but what you now currently feel. And you're trying to be very responsible when it does come to how to make these situations proceed forward. You may also have an opinion of what another person's energy should do in a relationship, in a contract, of what you feel they should do. You may be tuning into it and thinking, hey, this is a very imbalanced scenario. How directly do we change that so that we can get that frequency moving forward? The sun energy for you guys is almost about you guys wanting this happy ever after. And again, it's still falling in the 8th house where you are covering the energies of the stability of it. You do feel that you put a lot of work into it. And you do also feel as though, spiritually speaking, you know, you're open to miracles. You're wanting these situations to turn around to a point where there is a positive outcome. So you're trying to look at it that if you put the work in, you're going to get the best out of the situation. I do feel there's going to be a lot of communication in relation to this when it does come to you understanding how much effort to put in, where to step back, and you're gaining clarity in that area. Spiritually speaking, with Uranus and Taurus, again in your 8th house, your contracts, you know, what you're moving towards, I do feel you're being very cautious. It's like, I'm not feeling it's a win or lose energy. I'm feeling you're recuperating from the scenario. I do also feel as though you're resting and assessing the situation. You're being very realistic when it does come to what you need to do. You're also not being manipulated, but you're meditating upon what you need to do because you feel it's been a bloody big journey to attain the things that you spiritually feel correct for you. Mars and Gemini for you guys, it's spiritually speaking because it's falling in your religion house, and that can be, you know, your belief systems, the things you've learnt. It can be distant places, the distance you've traveled with an energy. You're really coming to a place where you're learning a lot about yourself. And through this, there may be a lot of spoken words of how you feel about scenarios. And I do feel, again, really straightforward communication, cutting to the chase, and definitely that is very Mars energy. Again, it can be, especially with the Gemini frequency coming through, where you're really trying to, a bit like the Libra energy, but Gemini, you see both sides of the story, but at the same time, you're trying to be very, how do I put it? Not beating around the bush. This is how you see it. This is how you see it. Yeah, you're really wanting to bring this home. You're really wanting to feel at home in the scenario. You're wanting to know that this whole foundation in this scenario is going to be for the betterment of the situation. You may be doing things that is against the grain of your belief. Again, I do feel there is, for a lot of you, there is a move. And I have been saying this for a while. There is a move to a different location to act. That will be a more spiritual location for you. That will feel more at home. If you're physically not moving home, it can be that you're changing the environment and the feng shui in the environment to create that balance. But you're also looking at, you know, in a fighting way, how you can still hold the integrity of who you are, and take what you've learned forward and not live in the past any longer. There can also be, I keep hearing forgiveness and movement, you know, letting a situation of a karmic nature resolve, although there is communication in relation to this. Your communication style. Now, again, Mercury is about travel, movement, communication, technology. I'm feeling as though anything, in a sense, it's falling in your 7th house. And again, this is marriage, contracts, and partnerships in Mercury. So there will be a lot of conversation about how you felt previously you invested at a particular frequency. Again, although the planets are retrograde, I do feel it's forthright conversations and communications in your romantic sector with your contracts and partnerships, with people that you've worked for, and you're really looking at the past of where you were unable to put the work into. And again, this can be coming down to your employment and spreading yourself so fine to a point you're really anchoring in the energy and seeing what needs to happen to move this forward. Again, this is within a relationship. You're wanting this to get off the ground. You're getting impatient. You're really wanting this to start moving. So it can be quite forthright conversations. And again, you're really speaking from the heart. 1st house. Yes, it's falling in the 7th, but the energy that's coming through for you guys is that you're really looking at it from your own very perspective to physically move this scenario forward. Okay, any fear-based frequencies you've got going on or anything that's been hidden from you, they're going to be actually shown to you. So, you know, this is really your Neptune frequency of your work environment, your habits, your ways of seeing things, the routine in your health. And I do feel it's not just connected to that. I feel it's directly impacting that. So your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations of what you've wanted to move forward to, being in the Pisces frequency, I feel as though any deceptions are actually coming to the forefront, and you're really seeing the truth of situations, so you can now use that information to proceed forward. But you are wanting the movement to move forward, and you're also picking up on situations regardless of the Neptunian energy. Yeah, you're going to see what's not working. You're willing to do the work, but this feels it's more a 3D energy of visually seeing something that directly isn't working. So it's going to give you solutions as to how to get it back into balance so you can proceed forward. Okay, let's just pull a few for romance and then we'll wrap it up and I shall come back. Feel free to ask questions while you're here. And we will tune into the energy again. You're really into this person. This person that you're tuning into, in a romantic sense, you're really into them. Past tense, I do feel it was quite overwhelming. Current tense, I do feel that other people are wanting a little bit too much of the pie. It can be spreading energy too fine. Things are going to change for the better, but I do feel a shift in direction. At the heart of the reading, for the romance, there is a toxic energy, but again, I do feel the devil card showing up is more directly connected to issues that can be coming up from the past, especially with Saturn and Pluto. It can be toxic energies externally, or connected to the individual in question, where they're causing dynamics. You're guided to become centered through this energy. What's going on up here in the classroom? Everyone's so quiet. So quiet. My daughter said hello. She's like, how's that lovely lady? Now, God, you guys have all got it going on. Okay, so get grounded to end this karmic cycle or to kick it off, moving into the retrograde. You've got two energies that are hindering the situation. At the heart of the matter, the issue is the devil card. Okay? The outcome is a tower. So, and it makes complete sense. In order for this cycle to end, the tower has to come down. Anything that Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are directly showing you, it is to move that frequency forward so that you can get the balance back. Especially from your own perspective, speaking your truth, I feel it's very important. I do feel, not necessarily you're micromanaging your words, but I feel as though the way you are perceiving things, you're speaking from self-perspective, which is truth. And sometimes we do get very concerned about speaking our truth because we feel there is a consequence for an action, an outcome. You need to trust in the fact, get centered, trust in the fact that anything that is meant to be yours will always be there. Even if it retreats, if it's meant to be yours, it will always return. These energies of what's coming up can be the direct person, but I'm more feeling it's at the heart of the matter of what needs to be purged. Karmic cycles ending out to shift this situation forward. Energetically, we actually attract karma. So the karma directly belongs to us individually. I do know that this year there is a transition we call the rise of Phoenix. Now, more so that's going to be in 2020, but there's the burn-off effect of karmic energy this year. Now, I do know with male energies, masculine energies, feminines, to be quite honest, were quite focused on spirituality, the path, or the TF. Masculine energies were doing work, but it was in a different way, and there is a lot of cleanup of frequency. So it's an awakening. They've gone through the dark night of the soul, many of them. Yes, there's different waves, This is collective energy regardless of twin or not. The transition of it, what happens is we directly attract karmic energies. All of us hold a frequency inside our chakra system. Fear-based frequencies, pain body experiences. We've got heart chakra activations we're going through. So karmic energy directly is attracted by our own frequency. So as soon as we purge and we do that healing, we can detract the karmic frequency. In a sense, this is going to be a 5-month transit for karmic energies to be shown to us of a path of breaking cycles. So it is very much a time frame of trying to create that stability during the retrograde. If you have come into balance in particular areas, they will not bug you as such. You may be ahead, and at times when you listen to readings, you may also find that you can skip steps energetically, and you can release toxic patterns and patterning, so to speak. But there is an energy of you very much coming into your own and even detaching from things and just completely speaking your truth. Does that make sense? I hope that helped. I'm not too stressed about how many I get done because these energies are going to cover, I'll do updates again, they are going to cover the next 4 to 5 months. So, especially with Chiron being in Aries, it is in your 7th house. So the wounds that are going to come up for the entire year are going to be in the 7th house. Yes, obviously, with other aspects with the planets, there will be that energy coming through. But the 7th house is all to do with anything you're connected to in a sense of marriage, contracts, and partnerships. So, you know, joining together with people, it can be your tribe, it can be your friendship groups, and, you know, looking at it and being yourself, coming home to self and being self. And it is your shadow sign. I know. Yes. So how's everyone's headaches been going? Are they beautiful? Good old headaches. I'm going to clear the cards and I shall be back shortly. Pick your poison. Which zodiac sign do we want next? We've done Libra. If you are wanting a booking, the link will be directly below. I will keep the chart so that if I need to do a read based on this or you individually, I can tune into what's coming up with you. Virgo. Okay, Virgo it is. Oh, look. You can have her. She was very disconcerted. She needs to use more discernment. She was super Shanice, I'll say that. I love her, but geez, Louise. But she did ask how you were. I mean, look, if you give me the cat, you can have the child. But she'd want the cat too, so she loves cats. Love and light, I'll be back shortly.